So this video will answer the following questions. Number one, what does it mean when she asks for a break? Number two, why women ask for breaks in the first place? Number three, what should you do during a break? Number four, how long should you wait? And finally, number five, how can you re-attract her? It's packed. Let's go. Jessica here, welcome back to my channel. So when your woman asks for a break, it can be a tough pill to swallow, especially if you didn't see it coming. But is it always bad? Let's jump into answering the first question, shall we? What does it mean when she asks for a break? So a break is a term used to describe a period of time that a couple spends apart from each other, to reflect on the suitability of the relationship and to assess where the relationship will go from there. Some women are bold enough to give you specific timelines when they ask for a break, but the majority of them usually leave it hanging until something changes. And the terms and conditions vary from relationship to relationship. Now, during the break, some women will say, it's okay to see other people or to date other people. Other women will say, we're mutually exclusive and are not allowed to see anyone until basically we come to a conclusion about the direction our break is going to go. Right? Or our relationship is going to go. Indeed, what she asks or allows both of you to do during the break matters a whole lot. And I will break that down a little later on in the video. For now, let's talk. You see, to avoid ambiguity, it's always important to state the terms of the break clearly at the beginning of the break. This is to remove all questions and doubts about what can and cannot be done during the break. It's also time for you to sort of negotiate the terms if you find them less desirable. Sometimes she'll give you the opportunity to. Other times she'll say, hey, take it or leave it. So how do you know what your girl means by break? Well, since it means different things, you're just going to have to ask her, right? Some questions you can ask are we permanently breaking up? Are we taking time apart? If we're taking time apart, how much time are we asking about or talking about? Should we call or text each other? Or should we go no contact? And these are legitimate questions. In your own interest, you want to define the expectations and limits as clearly as you can, so both of you know exactly what's going to be happening during the break. Once you do, there'll be less surprises and less disappointments. So why is she asking for a break? Well, there are three possible scenarios that I can personally think about. Sometimes, immature women will demand in the spur of the moment to go for a break or to put a pause on the relationship to manipulate her man into caring about her or doing what she wants. For example, let's say both of you are having a heated argument over something, right? You were adamant, she was stubborn. She can out of the blue say, look, you know what? I need a break from this relationship. I can't do this. On such occasions, bear in mind that it is merely a manipulative tactic to get you to back down or buckle. Now, depending on how strongly you feel about whatever is happening, you may be compelled to throw in the towel just to bring peace and make her stay, or your ego could get in the way and you could say, you know what? F this, I'm done. In this first scenario, what she really wants from you is not a breakup necessarily, but for you to drop your pride and chase her, because chasing her will tell her that she's desirable and worth being in a relationship irrespective of what's at hand. So scenario two is when your woman actually wants to break up, but isn't bold enough to deliver the bad news, right? She could do this for fear of maybe further aggravating you. She wants to prevent that, or simply doesn't have the cojones to break up. In the situation, instead of saying she's done with the relationship, she'll rather say she needs a break to give you some kind of assurance that the split is only temporary, so you don't panic and throw a fit, right? This will inadvertently give you that hope of reconciliation and will soften the blow and prevent you from overreacting. Scenario three is she genuinely is feeling stifled by the relationship. She needs some time alone to really assess whether this is for her or not. You no longer stimulate her emotionally. You're not meeting certain needs of hers. She wants to leave her options open. She may have met someone else. Legit, right? Your actions and inactions may be pushing her against the wall and she doesn't feel like she has options. So remember, I told you earlier in the video that what your girlfriend asks or allows both of you to do during the break actually matters. And I say this because you can tell what kind of break she wants by not just listening to what she says, but analyzing her behavior following that break. For instance, if she keeps talking to you and acting like nothing has happened, then perhaps it was just a spur of the moment thing. Emotions were running high. She wanted you to back off. She called for a break, right? She didn't mean it. However, if after the break talk, your girlfriend doesn't keep interacting with you, giving you affection, planning for the future, discussing things that healthy couples discuss, but instead seems cold, disconnected, disinterested, it's safe to assume that your girlfriend perhaps just became your ex. Now, before we jump to any conclusions, however, let me just answer the next few questions to put this conversation in better perspective. What should you do during a break if your girlfriend calls for that break? Now, I'm going to assume that your girlfriend simply needs time to see where both of you stand. And if this is if you guys have a future together. Now, if this is indeed the case, texting and contacting her on social media or in person are off limits. The entire point of asking for a break is to be able to create some distance to see things more clearly. Sending her text messages will make her think that you don't respect her wishes, which will in turn compel her to end things before actually giving it a thought. So even though you may be panicking, you may be anxious or fearful that you'll lose her, if she needs space to, figure things out, give it to her. Now, it's important to note that when a woman wants to break up with you, but instead asks for a break, she's not thinking about giving your relationship another chance in a couple of weeks when things actually settle down. She's not going to spend the next few months working on herself and looking for reasons to fall back in love with you. Get that? Note that when a woman dumps you or wants to dump you, she's not taking a break to improve herself and find better ways to manage her relationship. She's taking a break so she can feel better about the situation with you out of the picture. Okay? So to answer the question, what should you do during the break? I say do nothing. In other words, treat it like an actual breakup. In actual fact, the best thing for you to do would be to go no contact. And if you don't know how to execute the no contact rule, I actually have a whole video that will show you exactly how to go about it and why it's important. And I'll leave a link to that video in the video description below, right? Now, going no contact will actually allow you to assess your true feelings about the situation. It will allow you to not have clouded judgment when it comes to things concerning her. So don't go on her social media pages, don't message her, don't call. Sometimes the best way to allow people to see your value is actually to remove yourself from their lives. If she could not figure positive ways to improve or work on your relationship for the better, but instead decided to take that break, then she may not be the one for you after all. I mean, life doesn't give us breaks. When people care about you, they care enough to go with you through life's storms, not abandon you when the clouds start to form. The mistake a lot of guys do is you start hounding her, You'll lose her even before you start the game. Instead, I say respect the no contact rule. Don't try to prove that you're the man for her. Why? Because the woman who loves you already knows this. Instead, you may want to show her that you're not desperate. If she wants to be with you, she shouldn't be playing games in the first place. I mean, if she's so easy to lose, then let her go. You're not immature children who are just finding out what relationships are about. You're two adults trying to navigate life side by side. The next question I want to answer is, how long should you wait? Well, I mean, if you're absolutely smitten and feel completely helpless about the situation, and if I must absolutely give you an answer, my answer would be no longer than a month. In fact, a month is even too long. No longer than 2 weeks. A week even. I mean, a woman who truly loves you does not need that much time to figure it out. The minute you remove yourself from her life, she should feel that tug at her heartstrings. She should feel what she's missing. And if you're inadequate or your love is inadequate for her, then maybe there's no point fighting for it. If it were left to me, the minute you ask for a break, I would consider the relationship over. I personally would not wait 1 day, 2 days, 2 weeks, or a month. I mean, it's a waste of my precious time. If you can, be like me. If you can't, please keep watching this video. The final question I want to answer is how you can re-attract her. Now, there's no easy way to do it. I say it depends on the reason for which she wants the break, right? If she's simply unsure about the relationships, perhaps she thinks, hey, he doesn't care about my feelings. He hangs out with his friends too much, or doesn't give me attention, or the relationship has just gotten boring, it will mean that you're going to have to put in extra effort to make her understand why you're the man for her. You may have to go above and beyond. Are you willing to do that? If you are, then things like going back to the basics to understand what made your relationship sparks fly will be a good place to start. Reassessing your behavior to see what put her off in the first place and working on improving those things could be a great approach. Giving her more attention so she can feel that connection will work wonders as well. If her request for a breakup is simply because she's met someone else, however, then I'm afraid it's going to be an uphill task getting her back. I mean, she's lost interest in you for whatever reason, and you pushing her to stay with you will be pathetic. You'll end up begging her for the rest of your life. In conclusion, your girlfriend could be asking for a breakup for any reason, ranging from boredom in the relationship right through to wanting a greater level of commitment. I mean, whatever the reason for the break, the key to surviving this is to ensure that you do not lose yourself in the process. I mean, what's the use of making her happy if it truly makes you unhappy in the end? If your girlfriend asks for a break, give it to her. Give it to her. Don't even fret. It will hurt like a bitch. But you know what? Man up and give it to her. You do not want to be with someone who doesn't value what you bring to the table. It's hard, but it's doable. My name is Jessica. I hope you found this video beneficial. If you did, I have so much more content related to this. Take a moment, go through my channel, and check out what more you can binge on. I'll catch you in the next video. Cheers.